Hello, mathematicians, puzzlers, and other curious people. I've got a puzzle for you today, and here it is. So our goal in this puzzle will be to fill in the empty squares so that the top three multiply up to 54, the next row multiplies up to 120, the next to 56, and so that the columns have particular products. So the first column will have a product of 96, the second will have a column of 180, and the third will have a product of 21. But here's the catch. As part of this process, we are going to try to use the digits from 1 to 9, each number in one square only. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't personally done this whole puzzle before. I've started on it, not got all the way through it, because, stuff happens. But I've got an idea for a good way to go about it. You may see me try some things that don't work. That happens. No big deal. So I'm going to try filling this puzzle, what we know of it, into a spreadsheet. I'm using LibreOffice Calc. You can do all the same things in Excel or Google Sheets or anything like that. Okay, so first I want to mark the 9 grid squares that I'm going to be filling in with numbers, and I'm going to space them out so that I'm also labeling what's going on in them. So I'm kind of alternating, so I'll have room to put the multiplication symbols and everything. Okay, so that's going to be this times this times this comes out to, and you have to use quote marks with the equal sign because otherwise it just has fits. It'll try to be evaluating a formula, and we want that to come out to 54. Okay, so then I'm going to repeat that process on the second row. So those things multiplied together will come out to 120. And these things multiplied together are meant to come out to 56. Okay, so here's what else I see. I see that, these things multiplied together are meant to come out to 96. Let's see. The second column is meant to multiply up to 180. And the third column is meant to multiply up to 21. Okay, so I already see something interesting about that 21 there. That is 3 times 7. That's going to help me. So I'm going around using my prime factored form to help me narrow down where things are. Okay, 56. Well, let's see. I know 56 is even. So the first thing I'm going to try multiplying it by will be 2. Let me fill in the 2 there. Okay, so I see 28 is still even. What I'm doing here is basically division. I'm kind of like doing a tower of long divisions, but without all the all the steps in between, because I'm letting the spreadsheet do the steps for me. So that's even. I'm going to try 2 again. 14's still even, so I'll try 2 again. Okay, so now I've got the 2 times 2 times 2 times 7 come out to 56. That's awesome. So let's see, 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. And let me just scoot this over because I see I'm a little low on room. Yeah, that hid that, didn't it? What I did here is I started with the 56, and then I said, okay, divide it by 2, that'll give me 28. Divide it by 2 again, that'll give me 14. By 2 again, that'll give me 7. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 7 is a way to write 56. That tells me that the 7 has to be right there. Well, that tells me that these two here have to be the 1 and the 3. And now it's going to get tricky because I have to figure out which of those would be a better place to put it. So let's keep working our way around and see what we can find out. Okay, 54. I'm going to try instead. Okay, now I notice here I went into decimals, so that's not really a valid factor there. So 2 did not work. There, I'm going to try 3. 3 did work. Okay, so 54 is 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. That's going to be important. I know I've got to have something even and a whole lot of 3's in here. Now, why did the 7 match up exactly? Well, because 7 is prime and a single digit. So there was only the one way to get a 7 in there. There weren't any, the next multiple of 7 would be 14, and that's not one of our options of how to fill in these blanks. Okay, then 120. Okay, so, whoops. Let's see how this goes. What's that referring to? Okay, I want to divide it by that there. Sometimes you have to fix it. Still didn't work. What's wrong? Okay, let's just rebuild. So let's see, I want to take this and divide it by that. Okay, so 60 works. And I see that that's still even, so I'm going to try 2 again. Still even, so I'll try 2 again. Now that's not even, so I'll try 3. Okay, so what I see is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Okay, now this is important. So I can't possibly have, I can't have, 5 different numbers put into these 3 spaces. So some of them have to be sharing spots. Okay, what else do we know? Let's try this 180. Okay, this looks like an important one because 180, well, it's going to have an interesting factor in it. Whoops, typo, not 1,803, just 180. Okay, so 2 didn't work there, I'll try 3. Okay, and that just cascaded right into everything. Okay, so we've got 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. Okay, so I definitely have to have the 5 in here and in here, so that tells me a good place to put the 5 would be right there. Okay, so then we just need to break out 96 and see what we can find out about it. So let's see. I think we can stick with the 2's a little longer. Okay. So what we've got here is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. That's a lot of 2's and 3's. It's not surprising because that's basically what we are working with here, a whole lot of 2's and 3's. 2, 3, 4, 5 2's and 1 3. Okay. So we've got a couple of things that we know for sure, and I'm going to go ahead and mark them in green. We are definitely sure about those. Now these others, we just need to start doing some guesswork, and in order to make that guesswork easier, I'm going to do a little relabeling. So this right here, I'm going to label as my goal. This also. And then I'm going to add a row for what's going on currently. And I'm just going to start multiplying. Okay, so this current is going to be the result of this times that times that. Okay, so one thing I'm running into right away is it's reading these empty ones as zeros. I'll go ahead and put ones in there so the multiplication will work correctly. But I know I'll have to replace all but one of those with instead something other than a 1 eventually. And I need to do something similar here. So this times that times that. And I'll copy that and then paste it to there. Okay, and I can look at this and see how far off from the actual value things might be. So let's just take a look now at what we actually have to work with. There's going to be a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, which is really 2 times 2, a 5, but that's already in there. So I'm going to, let's see, where's my button for strike through? Oh, well, now I've done it. It's a little bit lagged, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Font, effects, strike through. There we go. Okay, there's the 6 and the 7, which I'm going to copy this. So it'll copy the formatting. Oh, remember the 6 is a 2 times a 3. And then an 8 is really a 2 times a 2 times a 2. And then a 9 is a 3 times a 3. So now we kind of just need to try things and see what happens. So I know that out of this 180, I definitely need one of these to be even. It's okay if they're both even. It would be a problem if I tried to put a 6 to be a 2 times 3 in both places, because that just wouldn't fit. I could try putting, let's see, I could try putting 9 in one and 4 in the other. And I don't want any 3s in this part. So I could try putting 4 and 9 there. Now, I don't know if that's right yet. There could be different arrangements. So let's see what's needed. So then let's see, 28 to 56. Let's see. So that's missing a 2, so I could try putting a 2 there. No, not the whole thing, just 1, 2. Okay. Now, let's see. To get that 96, when what I've got here is just a 2. Okay, so I've got a bunch of 2s. I need a 3 in there somewhere. Let's see, they both still need one more 3. So I'm not exactly sure what's going to go where, but I can try putting a 6 here and see if that works. Okay, and then let's see, I've got a 6 and another 2, so the other one could be the 8. Okay, so that works out for 96. Now I'm just trying to see, does that work for the 3? Okay, so now I've got, okay, so some of these are a little bit off. I see that this one is too low and this one is too high. So maybe I got the 8 and the 6 backwards. I'll try switching them around. So 8 and 6. Nope, that didn't quite work. Let's see, this is still off by a factor of 3. So I'm going to try switching where I've put the 1 and the 3 here. So there's the 3, and there's the 1. Let's see, 54, 120, 56, 96, 180, 21. Okay, so this grid works. I'm going to go ahead and put a box around. Why is that not putting a box? Come on now, give me a box. There you go. Okay, so that is my answer. So it seems to me that this works if we put then, let's see. Yeah, this works if we put a 6, a 9, a 1, an 8, a 5, a 3, and then a 2, 4, and 7. Okay, so there's a couple things I didn't do here. I didn't prove that this is the only solution. So it's possible that there's another solution out there that also works, at least as far as we've done here. If you think this is the only possible solution, that could be an interesting thing to investigate. If you think this might not be the only possible solution, that could also be a really interesting investigation problem. Let's see. We also didn't talk about how a puzzle like this might be made up in the first place, like what the requirements are for these numbers around the edges. So those definitely sound like interesting directions you could go from here. For now, I'm going to say, calc you later.